What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/ProRevenge. This story's called Cancel Me Leave? Say goodbye to your promotion. Error in title should be read as Cancel My Leave? Say goodbye to your promotion. Too late, buddy. I used to work in a disability shared accommodation agency. It's a job where you support 4 to 6 people with disabilities who share the accommodation. It's shift work. 2 clients per staff member during the day, 1 staff member on a sleepover at night. The rosters are 4-week rotating rosters. I was employed as a .75, meaning I work 75% of what is considered full-time, equating to 57 hours a fortnight. Working shifts sucked, but the pay was good. I was working in a house I'll call Sunup. Sunup had 4 residents and 7 workers. Each house had a house supervisor. They reported to the cluster manager, who managed 6 houses. Cluster manager reports to the CEO. By company policy, leave requests are first in best dressed, meaning you need to put your leave in early to ensure you get it. I was transferred to Sunup from a 6-client house due to my qualifications and situations I cannot legally disclose. I worked for the first year, got to know the staff, clients, house supervisor, etc. There was an obvious clique between 4 staff members. Each school holidays, 3 would apply for leave, and 1 would call in sick with a medical certificate covering the same amount of time. They would always rotate who was sick to hide what they were up to. They were friends outside of work who would party together. After a year, the house supervisor fell sick. One of the clique members, Karen, was appointed acting supervisor, and it went to hell. She tried reducing my hours and giving extra time to a friend. I pointed out that I'm contracted for 57 hours a fortnight, so I'm getting paid for 57 hours a fortnight. Her friends got extra shifts. They were given the best shifts and were all around favored by Karen. In January, I put in leave for March school holidays. Karen rejected it on the grounds that others had already submitted leave. Her clique all applied for this time. I left this alone. In March, I checked the leave calendar for the June school holidays. Each house had a leave calendar so management and staff can check who's scheduled leave. It was empty. I submitted leave again and it was rejected. Karen said, "Sorry, you are too slow. Karen said that A, B, and C, click, already submitted leave." The next day, the leave calendar showed this. In May, I checked Christmas leave calendar, put in my leave, and sure enough, got the same result. This annoyed me as I have a family that I wanted to take on holiday. I spoke to the cluster manager, also a part of the clique, who said there was nothing I can do. Note, I had no leave taken in 2 years. January the following year, the clique was on holiday. We had a gastro outbreak across our facilities, so we were short-staffed. All available staff, including CEO, were covering shifts. I was rostered on with the CEO 1 shift. During the shift, he said to me, "OP, you have a bit of leave accumulated. You should probably take some." I put in 3 requests last year. All were rejected, as others apparently already applied for those dates. "Let's lock in your leave now." "Okay, how about 4 weeks over Christmas?" I filled out the form, CEO signed it off, he filled out the leave calendar, and put my application in Karen's pigeonhole. I was on sleepover that night, so I took my application, photocopied it for myself, and replaced it under the mountain of paperwork in her pigeonhole, knowing she wouldn't see it for a few months. In March, I checked the leave calendar. I noticed my Christmas leave disappeared, replaced with Karen A, B, and C. I didn't say anything as I had a leave form with CEO's signature. Fast forward to October. Original house supervisor has passed away. Acting supervisor was now appointed permanent supervisor by the cluster manager with a mandatory 3-month probation. December comes around. First week of my leave. I get a call from Karen. "Where are you?" "On leave." "I didn't approve any leave. Get your ass to work now." I come in. Karen chews me out, stating she didn't get an application form. Even if I submitted it, she would reject it, as you should know by now that we always take 2 weeks in December and January. She wrote me up for insubordination. I worked that shift. When Karen left, I emailed the CEO, filling him in on what happened. He called a meeting with me and Karen. "What happened?" "Karen cut me off. OP took it upon herself to approve leave. I wrote him up for skipping work." "Actually, I submitted leave in January while you were away." "No, you didn't." "Yes, he did. I approved it and added it to the leave calendar." We already had 4 staff booked on leave. Show me the leave forms. I destroyed them. I handed Karen my copy of my form signed by the CEO. OP's on leave. I'm going to sun up and I'm investigating the situation. OP, my apologies. Go home. I'm extending your leave by an extra week. I go home. I come in 4.5 weeks later to be told that Karen has lost her promotion. She is on thin ice. CEO found out that Karen has been rejecting my leave requests. She shredded my request without looking past the date. She deleted my leave from the calendar. The CEO told Karen that this borders on fraud. The CEO also separated the clique to different houses. He changed the leave policy to state that he must sign off on leave requests, in addition to house supervisor and cluster managers. He ensured that all staff had access to prime leave dates. Karen was fired 2 weeks later for failing audit requirements. Edit. To clarify why the CEO did grunt work. Funding body stipulated that during day, 1 staff was required for every 2 clients. We were short-staffed across the board. There was lots of juggling staff. All staff employed with the company not on leave were working in houses, including CEO, cluster managers, administration. They were rostered on with qualified staff who took the lead. CEO had social worker qualifications, social work experience, but no support worker experience. It was an extreme situation that could see funding withdrawn. The reason why he extended my leave by a week is because this incident took place on a Monday. CEO meeting took place on Wednesday or Thursday, can't remember exactly. As I worked Monday and got called in for the meeting, I wouldn't have gotten my 4 weeks. Ooh, that's always been like a fear of mine, getting a job and then having management all cliquey with some jerks that you work with, and it's just this horrible cycle of them trying to be bigger jerks than each other. This story's called Update: Escaping a Hostile Work Environment by the book. This is an update to my original post from last year. Teal deer from last post. Butthole boss, Jim, moves to new role. Poisons the well with my business partners by telling them that I was the highest paid person on his prior team. They, Pat and Wanda, set out to make my life so miserable I almost quit. I decide instead to screw them over by the book. After going on bereavement because my mom died, I decided that rather than coming back, I would take a much-needed extended medical leave, leaving them hanging for their upcoming releases, all the while still collecting that highest paid salary for a good, long while. I left one minor detail out of my first post. My mother was incredibly cruel, and we haven't spoken for the past 5 years. My bereavement leave was a week of chilling out, trying to figure out what to do about work because I didn't even go to her funeral. No one at work knew this. My official story was I was grieving such a devastating loss, and that's what you'll read in the original post. I think that's enough to catch everyone up. Here's how everything's gone down since. First, the leave could not have been at a better time. The day I made my last post, my sweet cat, Ray, was not himself. In fact, that's the last video I took of him. I took him to the emergency vet where we found out he had lymphoma in his liver and pancreas. We had to let him go a couple of days later. There was no way I could have worked and grieved for him at the same time. And going on medical leave right after your cat dies is not nearly as socially acceptable as taking leave after your mom dies. Rest in peace, my sweet boy. I was spinning for a good couple of weeks after that. My arm still hurt a lot, and I wasn't able to type for more than 20 to 30 minutes. And even that hurt. I continued physical therapy and was frustrated at how slow the progress was. My therapist asked me to video myself typing at home. He took one look at it and saw the problem immediately. My desk and chair were fine. The horizontal and vertical parts of my workspace were fine. The problem was that my keyboard was too narrow, so my arms were constantly at an angle, which caused stress on all the joints. At his recommendation, I bought an ergonomic split keyboard and immediately noticed the difference. By the end of the year, I was pain-free, although I still can't type for as long as I used to. Because my out-of-pocket maximum had been reached with my health insurance, I took the opportunity to get everything checked out under the hood. I'm 48, so I had a colonoscopy and endoscopy. Fun! The doc says my colon is perfect, so if I ever need a Tinder bio, I know what to lead with. I went to the dermatologist, gynecologist, every ologist in the book, and except for my crappy arms, I'm pretty healthy. I also went into an IOP, or Intensive Outpatient Program, for therapy the last 6 weeks of the year, where I spent 3 hours, 3 days a week in group therapy with other people. I made some amazing and fascinating new friends, including a paramedic and firefighter both coping with PTSD, an Afghanistan veteran, and several others. I also learned about complex trauma from childhood mistreatment, and came to realize that my anxiety, depression, and ADHD were not necessarily 3 separate diagnoses, but instead were symptoms of complex PTSD, or CPTSD, likely related to my mother's continual mistreatment and a few other traumatic childhood events. Because of IOP, I'm now working with a trauma therapist and my general therapist. After decades of regular therapy barely helping, I finally have someone to work with to help me truly put my past in the past, so I can heal emotionally. My mother's death and this leave was the best thing that could have happened for my physical and emotional health. When I made my last post, I resented the hell out of Jim, Pat, and Wanda for being so cruel to me at work. I still don't like them, but I've moved past resentment and I'm now grateful for the situation, because their hostility was the catalyst that got me the treatment I've needed for years. Decades. My husband and I also met with our financial advisor, who, after running the numbers, made it clear that for both of us, work should be considered as more of a want-to thing than a need-to activity. Turns out, dual income, no kids, and saving throughout my 25-year career was a good decision. So I decided I don't want to work for this company anymore. My leave ended and I returned to work 2 days ago. As soon as I returned, I sat down with my new manager and told him about Jim, Pat, and Wanda. Of course, no one had filled him in on their behavior. I gave him some hard copies of emails documenting their stunts. He was shocked by that, but was not surprised when I ended my 5-minute summary with, "So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to resign." I handed over my letter with my 2 weeks notice. He asked me if I truly wanted to work those 2 weeks, and I said, not particularly, no, but I do want to get some things off my work computer, so I need to get it back online. He agreed it would be a waste for me to try to really pick up anything. I jumped through the hoops of getting my computer online to get those docs. I blocked Jim, Pat, and Wanda, along with 3 other people who were toxic but not quite as nasty as those 3, as soon as I pulled up Microsoft Communicator. I'm not attending any meetings. I have just one meeting on my calendar next week, the one where my new manager will announce my departure to the team. Meanwhile, I'm getting paid full salary for these 2 weeks as well, and I'll get all my 2020 vacation days paid out when I leave. So the final tally of just how much Jim's butthole move cost my company and benefited me: 1 week of bereavement leave at 100% of my salary, 8 weeks of family and medical leave paid at 100%, 4 weeks of family and medical leave paid at 65%, 1.5 weeks of extended certified medical leave paid at 65%, 2 weeks of salary at 100%, 4 weeks of paid time off payouts at 100%, for a grand total of 20.5 weeks or 5 months of salary at varying rates, for doing nothing but taking care of my own damn self. And I'm not including the thousands of dollars I didn't have to pay while getting checkups, medical procedures, physical therapy, and group therapy, as it was all covered by my company's medical insurance. I'm also not including what they all had to go through to put a new person on these releases, and all the stress I didn't have because I didn't end up delivering on these projects. The weekend in November when my project was set to go live, I was in another town for an old friend's memorial, seeing people I hadn't seen in 20 years. I wouldn't have been able to attend if I hadn't gone on leave. I'm not going to reveal my salary, but I will say that the last several months have cost the company tens of thousands of dollars for my salary alone. The other benefits I've reaped, on top of the salary, have been immeasurable. They say living well is the best revenge, and it's true. Jim, Pat, and Wanda are still their ugly-ass selves, chained to their desks, bitter and making sure everyone around them knows it. As for me, I'm free of the chains of a 9-to-5 job. I don't think I'm gonna look for another job for quite some time, and when I do, it's gonna have to be something I want to do, not something I need to do. Now, I just need to figure out what I want to be when I grow up. Man, I just had this really dark realization about, getting to that end of your lifetime. Just seeing people just dying. Like a lot of people. Like once you get to, 40s, 50s and beyond, people will have died. And that's just crazy. And a lot of people will have died. Personally, I don't think anyone really close to me has ever died, at least in my conscious lifetime. But I know for a fact, lots of my dad's friends have died. And as well as his older brothers. Literally all of my dad's older brothers have died except for the one that's directly older than him. Anyways, dark realizations aside, this person, she played the system very well. That's good. And she's recovering from emotional stuff. That's good. It's unfortunate that she had to wait so long to actually get the help that she really needed, but I guess it worked in her favor in the end because of all the money she saved. That's why I believe that if you're looking to have a lot of money, set your sights on ending up having a passive income career. That's the good stuff. This story's called Sticking a Girl Who's Been Using Me with a Fat Bill. I've really liked this girl for a while that I met at a lifeguard certification course, and I talked to her while I was there, and I thought we ended up hitting it off. We exchanged numbers and social media and all that, and we messaged for a few weeks before I asked her out to a movie, which she accepted. We'd been going on casual dates, nothing too serious, and we weren't hanging out at my place or her place even though I'd hinted at the idea. For a few weeks before one of her friends, someone that was also at the lifeguarding course that I met and kept in contact with because he was cool, sends me this screenshot, which went something like this. Aren't you and OP going out now? Not really, but as long as he keeps paying for everything, I'll let him take me out more. Girls gotta eat. Oh, why you gotta do him like that? I don't know. That's 2 shoulder shrug emojis. I tried. He said he felt bad for me because I was nice and that she does this often to other dudes. After seeing this, I asked her to go on a nice date with me to a hibachi grill restaurant. $20 to $40 plates and premium desserts are served there. I got the most expensive thing they had, and so did she. We both got fancy ice cream and multiple refills on drinks. I complimented her a lot and smiled consistently before getting up to go to the bathroom and leaving. I was also her ride. About 45 minutes after, I get furious texts from her saying that she had to have her mom come down and pay for it because she didn't have the money on her and that we were done. I know it's not a lot and it sucks because I thought she was actually into me, but it felt pretty nice leaving her that way. You know what they need to do? They being anyone. Someone needs to start a course for young boys and girls, and it teaches you how to not get played by stupid people that try to play you. It just really sucks how often people get used in a relationship that they think is a great one and healthy and that everyone's in love with everyone, but no, you're getting played, boy or girl. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.